Now we're ready for our next slide. Uh, I'd like to provide a little bit more general information about schools, and in particular, I want to focus on the different layers of support that there are um, within the school community. So again, we are talking about public schools here. So these are public schools that are required to receive all of the children within the community at whatever levels that they may be at academically, with whatever language they may have, with whatever special needs they may have. So because of this, our public schools are required to provide different levels of support based on the needs of the child. One of the first things that would be important for you to know is that we recognize and know that some of our students come as English language learners. Of course, you will be having you have a primary language at home other than English, most likely, if both the mother and the father know English, or maybe just the father, or in some cases just the mother. If any of the parents know English, this is a benefit, of course. But regardless, your child will be learning English at school, and the focus is on their listening first, then speaking, and then from listening and speaking, they can begin to learn to read and write. So this is kind of a progression. Of course, everything spirals. That is, they will begin to speak and to read even as they're continuing to understand English that is spoken to them. We call this our ELD, or English Language Development Program. Your child will be considered an English learner, an EL student. And there are annual tests that are given 2 times each year to monitor the progress for your child in their English language development. Secondly, I want to share with you that we recognize that not every child at a particular grade level comes at exactly the same learning level as the other students. And some students may require extra academic support. This is primarily in reading and math. These are the 2 areas that schools mostly focus on for extra academic support. And basically, we think of this as what we call intervention. That is, we are trying to break in to a child's learning and provide them additional support for what they might need. This could come in or out of class. Your school might call it Walk to Learn. Your school might call it RTI, which means Response to Intervention. So this is just a chance for the teacher to look at all of the learning needs of the students in their class. And if they have some students that are below the normal reading level, to provide them with some additional support academically, or some students that are below where they should be in their math, to provide them some extra support for parts of the day. Perhaps more important, and as kind of a result of seeing how students are doing, some students may be identified as having something that we call a special learning need, or we would say that a student that may has a disability. This could be something like autism, or Down's syndrome, or a developmental delay, or a speech delay. So these are typically students whose learning is slower because of some of their cognitive and developmental needs. If a student is identified, and this can happen as early as 6 months old, all the way until a student is 21 years old, if a student is identified to have any one of these needs, they will have a program called an IEP, which stands for an individualized education program, or individualized educational plan. This is a legal document that specifies the kinds of instruction and the kinds of support that child needs. This could mean that the child stays in the regular classroom and just has a little bit of time out of the classroom to work with a specialist teacher to provide particular intervention. In some cases, where students have many, many more learning needs, again, autism, Down syndrome, some kind of developmental delay, where it is determined that they are not able to fit into the regular classroom because their learning level is so much lower, they will be in an alternate class, in a special education class, where they will receive the instruction in a more appropriate way to what their needs are. If you have questions, or if you are suspecting that your child is far below where they should be academically, speak with your teacher about if an IEP is something that's appropriate. There is a specific series of steps. First of all, some testing and assessment, then a meeting with the parent to discuss the result of that assessment, and then a determination if that student would qualify or would be able to benefit from having this extra support. So again, if a student is far below where they should be academically, an IEP is something that is helpful. And that IEP follows them each year. And then after 3 years, a child is reevaluated to determine if they still continue to have special needs. We also recognize that based on current events and things that have happened, both in regards to COVID, in regards to families coming here from challenging situations in their home country, from Afghanistan, from Ukraine, we know that many students come with some social and emotional needs. There are levels of counseling that can be available to families and to children to help them feel safe and ready to be learning at school. So just know that these are other things that schools are aware of and that we are trying to address, and make sure that the families get the support that they need and that the students get the support that they need. So we do consider that sometimes it's not just it's not just the student that may need support, but it could be the family that needs some support. So schools often provide additional resources to families. This could be a food distribution. At the school where I teach at, on a once-a-month basis, we have a food distribution program, bags of groceries to the families. This week, in 2 days, my school will be having a clothing distribution to families at our school. Some schools do things like that, as well as just making sure that families know about referrals or organizations and groups in the community that may provide other resources. This could be tutoring, this could be sports, this could be counseling, this could be healthcare or other kinds of needs. So we will schools can help to make community referrals as well for families. Once again, if you have needs, it's important that you ask the school, because it's possible that they have some resources that they want to be able to provide to you. Also, pay attention to all of the communication that comes home. There could be a letter or a flyer that explains about a particular program that would be helpful for your family, and they will communicate that with you if that's a resource that they have. At high school level, so when students get to that 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year, 4 years, right at the end of their schooling, there are other specialists that are there to provide help. So there is a guidance counselor that helps to check off all of the requirements that your child has. There is what's called a career center that helps to understand the interests that your child may have, that helps to answer questions about jobs and college opportunities. So there are other specialists at school besides the teachers that are available to help your child consider and think, what would they like to do with all of their learning and with other opportunities that are in front of them. After high school, students, if a student graduates from high school with their diploma, some students may feel that that's all that they would like to do, and that they can go get a job with that high school diploma. They can do that. Some of their opportunities may be a little bit more limited, but they're going to be able to find a job at a store, or at a restaurant, and do some work there. But if a student wants to go to college or to university, these are some opportunities that they may have. So the guidance counselor and the career center can help with that. I was asked by one of the principals that I know just to also mention it's important for especially our boys at elementary level when they are at recess time to make sure that they're being very, very careful with playtime. Within our schools, especially elementary school, there are breaks during the day for students to get outside and to play together. And so during recess, some of the boys really like to play, strongly at school. But of course, it's important that they need to be careful with having play that's not too rough. Finally, as I mentioned, there is a lot of opportunity in front of you. The schools take a great responsibility in terms of educating your child, but they need to know the questions and the information that you need. So all of these different layers of support, it's important that we know how we can best support you. So continue to ask the questions that you may have. Let's go to the next slide. This slide covers a little bit of information about support at school that you can help to provide for your child. So again, this is support for your child at school. First thing to say is that regular attendance is very, very important. Having your child at school every day and on time at school is very, very important. So you need to know what time school begins and have your child there early so that they are ready in regular attendance. They need to be there every day at school. All of the learning that happens one day at a time. If a child misses too many days, it's hard for them to stay progressing with all of the other students. So regular attendance on time every day is very, very important. Secondly, there are times during the school year where you have the chance to be at school to learn information. At the beginning of the year, sometime in August, there is what we call our back to school night program. Once again, this is typically in August. And this is a night for you to come to school to listen to a presentation from the teacher, to get information about the school year ahead, about the daily schedule, about the resources, about the opportunities during that school year from that teacher. And so you are able to understand this is what's going to happen during the rest of the school year. Sometime around November, you will also have the chance to have a one-on-one meeting, and I'm just going to abbreviate November. You're going to have a chance to have a one-on-one meeting to have a parent conference with your child. This is mostly true at the elementary level, but even at junior high and high school, you can ask for this if you would like. But right around November time, you will have report cards that come out that explain what your child's grades or their marks are for that first part of the year. And again, at elementary, you'll have a chance to have a one-on-one conversation with the teacher to discuss specifically how your child is doing. At the end of the year, in April or May, there will typically be some kind of an open house that your school will provide for you. And this is a time for teachers to open up their classroom and for parents and families to come in to see all of the work that the children have been doing through the school year. All of these are chances for you to connect with the school staff. It helps to show the classroom teacher, of course, but really it helps to show your child how important education is to you and that you want to support them to the best of your ability. I put this in red because I want you to know anytime that you feel that you would like to meet with your teacher, ask for a conference. I've been teaching for a very, very long time. Anytime a parent asks me for a conference and they would like to meet with me, I will make time for them. Sometimes it could be just a phone call. Sometimes we can communicate through email. That's okay. But if you would like to meet individually with your teacher because you have specific questions, ask for that and ask your teacher, for a time that you're able to sit down with them and have that conversation. So as I said, ask questions and keep on asking questions again and again. If there are opportunities to volunteer to be at school, that's also a good opportunity depending on your schedule. Speak with the office if there are opportunities for you to volunteer. And as I mentioned before, keep all of your contact information updated. When you register with your school, you give them your text, your phone number, you give them your email. All of that information is important for the school to be able to communicate with you. So make sure all of that information is updated. And finally, we're at our last slide. This is for support for you to consider at home for your child. In particular, younger students, it's important that younger students get a lot of rest, that they be ready for their next day. Make sure that they are in bed as early as possible. This I know is sometimes hard depending on family schedules. Sometimes families need to go shopping in the evening. But as much as you can, if children can be in bed at an early time to get good rest and to be ready for the next school day, this is, of course, very, very important. For older students, they, of course, need the same thing. They need to get plenty of rest. And also, I'm going to add that they need to be careful about how they're using technology, whether it's a phone or a tablet or a computer. Be very, very careful how they're using technology, in particular in the evenings before they go to bed. That they are using it appropriately, that they're using it for school and for learning, but that they also are able to turn it off and to put it away so that they can get rest and be ready for school the next day. I would like to say it's important that you maintain your first language. If you are speaking another language in the home, keep that first language, listening, speaking, and even reading and writing that first language. It's important that that students, keep their first language and add English as a second language. There will be many, many more opportunities for families and for students that know two languages. Many of you know more than one language, and you know that that's a benefit. And so this is important here as well. English plus your home language is very, very helpful. I will put a big star next to this. The public library is a great resource. Find out where your local public library is. All of the resources here are free. This is books, this is Wi-Fi and computers, this is audiobooks, this is special programs that they have. All of these resources are free. You can get a public library card that allows you to go in to any library in that area and to check out books. So make sure that you're taking advantage of the public library resources that are there. And finally, again, connected with the library, make sure that your child is a lover of books, that they are reading daily, a stack of books next to their bed, a stack of books all together for the family to be reading together, older siblings reading with the younger siblings, even demonstrating the parents are also learning English as they read. Let your child become a little bit of your teacher to teach you some English. Read daily and show them the importance of literacy and reading. And as much help as you can give them with homework, there are many other resources that are available that your school may provide information to you about. Just when the school sends you some homework, they will also often send you other information about other resources that are helpful. Help them with their homework when they come home with that. Make sure that they are organized and that they have all of their supplies ready to start their new day at school. Once again, as I mentioned, I want to come back to our front page. The main thing that I would like you to really remember is to seize the opportunity that's in front of you and to continue to seek out the many, many people that want to support you and partner with you in your child's education. Once again, I thank you for giving me the chance to present at the men's integration class today. If there are questions that you have, Shakib is able to pass those on to me and to provide me with those questions, and I can get back with him with some more answers. I'm sorry that I was not able to be there in person today, but I'm glad that you are together and with Shakib and with others around you to take the next steps forward in the education for your children. Thanks again very much.